Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be discussing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tesla, and the S&P 500. Jumping into the Bitcoin daily chart, Bitcoin right now does appear to be consolidating bullishly, holding what appears to be a bull flag pattern. Full disclosure, I am net short Bitcoin off of the 122,000 level. So I am slightly up on that trade and I'm going to remain short until that level is violated. Couple things I want to point out is Bitcoin did achieve that massive upside resistance zone as seen on this daily chart. You can even see this weekly channel on the weekly Bitcoin chart. We've hit some major pivot lows, major pivot highs. That's why I think Bitcoin's due for some choppy price action. That's certainly what we've been seeing here. There's been a lot of up and down movement in the Bitcoin price action. And what that tells me is when you see big moves up, big moves down, big moves up, big moves down, that is a sign of distribution. You just want to be cautious. One of the reasons Bitcoin is remaining firm, and I think that crypto is remaining firm, is because altcoins are starting to outperform and still catching some liquidity. Although I think Bitcoin top is in the near term, I do think Ethereum can still make a slight push higher, which is why I haven't shorted Ethereum. I'm waiting for one more final little hoorah push in the Ethereum front, and then I'm actually looking to execute a short on Ethereum. But I think Ethereum is going to make one more push into this 3,900, maybe 4,000, maybe it taps 4,000. But that's when I do think crypto will finally put in that much bigger top that I've been waiting for in Bitcoin. You can see on the total crypto market cap, if I drop it to the weekly chart, we are trading into a massive weekly chart resistance. And yes, I do see a very bullish pattern breakout here on the total crypto market cap, which is arguably an inverse head and shoulders here that's triggered. But often these patterns happen in stages. We likely will get a pullback before a continuation move higher. So that being said, I'm waiting for Ethereum to tap 3,900 to 4,000 to look for a short trade. Jumping to the S&P 500, the SPX has had an astonishing move to the upside. We have hit some massive key levels here on the daily chart. We have triggered this inverse head and shoulders quite a while ago, which was why we've been piling on the long side for many different swing trades. We've also been seeing epic short squeezes to the upside in this market. But the SPX is hitting some daily chart resistance. Taking this trend line going all the way back to 2021, hitting this massive pivot high in 2024, that's what we're trading into right now on SPX. So I do think that we can go through a bit of choppy price action here, maybe for the next week as we press into the Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft earnings. Maybe the market reduces some exposure to tech and goes through a little bit of consolidation. Today we did see the IWM have a bit of a failed breakout. Inverse head and shoulders pattern that had this beautiful breakout failed to the downside today. What do they say? The biggest moves come from failed patterns, and this is a failed bullish move. One of the reasons why assets, specifically small caps, are going through a bit of distribution is the reason because yields have been trying to push higher and trying to move higher here in the near term to tap this trend line or at least retest these pivot highs. Recapturing and bouncing off of this EMA 113 is yet again a very bullish sign for yields in the near term. Overall, though, that S&P 500 trading into resistance should be watched carefully. Today we did get a pretty decent sell into the close. Late day sell-off after the market was grinding and chopping. The markets did close with a short-term lower low. So even though the indices closed positive, it was a slightly bearish close on the S&P 500, and it really happened in the last 30 to 40 minutes of trading. Looking at Tesla's chart today, Tesla absolutely got pummeled on earnings. I was net bullish Tesla. My primary position on Tesla was the 340 upside calls for the September 19th. Going into yesterday's earnings, I was up roughly $1,200 on my two contracts. That being said, I was a little bit cautious and skeptical about Tesla. So what did I do? I issued an alert to my members. We took a downside 327 July 50 put. That put printed up 175%, basically mitigating my long exposure. So my position that was green on the longs was ended up being hedged with the downside put that we took 175% profit on, closing at the lows of this session. I discussed with my members in the pre-market. I said, the level that Tesla really wants to maintain above is this wide range red bar breakdown candle. I drew that trend line across in the pre-market. And look at the epic price action that Tesla ended up. It ended up bouncing through that area, but got a nice close above that zone. So that is a short-term positive for Tesla, the fact that it is above that area. If you're a little bit more aggressive and want to give Tesla some more room to run, if it starts to lose this impulse green candle here, that would not be a good sign. Nevertheless, we were hedged with our downside puts. I still think Tesla has the ability to float and grind higher. We are still holding this upsloping parallel channel. We will see if Tesla can do a little bit of a fake out shakeout, but if it violates some key levels, then I'm definitely looking to exit out of these upside calls for a loss. So this was a nice scenario and a little bit of an education where we're long at a little bit of a farther out date. We still have those September calls. We hedged with a very short-term trade, and we are in the position to still potentially profit from both trades if Tesla can get its big butt up and start moving. Nevertheless, investors are fearing the capex spending and liquidity of the free cash flow for Tesla is just getting demolished on the back of Elon Musk's latest innovations, whether it's Optimus, cyber taxis. They are bleeding cash right now and sales are dropping, so investors are a little bit spooked. So we will see if any sort of its forward expectations start to increase here in terms of people starting to price in maybe Optimus, maybe cyber taxi, robo taxi. But there's obviously a lot of things that Elon Musk is working on. He still has so much exposure to the space program. He has the most satellites up in space out of any country in the world. So it's definitely a company that you can still bet on because he can pull rabbits out of his hat. We've seen in the past, but definitely a little bit of a nasty down day on Tesla. Huge amount of volume. We'll see if Tesla can recapture this EMA 113. That is the next bullish level that I'm watching for. Please give this video a like down below and we'll see you on the charts a little bit later.